Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Business Beyond the Game. I'm your host of this program, Eric Jackson, and today we're joined by a familiar face in the world of sports broadcasting. We have an entrepreneur, media personality, and Emmy-nominated sports journalist, Erin Andrews. Erin, welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm good. I hate the Emmy nominated because it clearly means I didn't win. I need to tell people, not you, but my people, don't add it until
No, that's a great That's a great
No.
distinction.
I'm lucky if I get invited to the damn thing. So yeah, whatever, it's fine. But I'm good. How are you doing? Thanks for having me.
I'm doing great. Now, Erin, you're in the business of keeping fans informed at home at the latest happenings on the field or the court or whatever you are on your day-to-day, but you're also in the fashion of business, or the business of fashion, I should say. What made you want to start your own women's sportswear collection, Erin? It's not typical for those in this business to launch their own clothing line.
Right. Yeah. And it hasn't been easy at all, let me tell you. But I think the biggest reason why is I obviously am a huge sports fan. I'm a wife of, a two-time Stanley Cup champion. And I would always want to I would always want to have different outfits to support my college team, my favorite NFL team, my husband when he was playing. And I just noticed when I would go to pro shops that there was a ton of selection for men and maybe a couple styles for women. And then the styles that they had available were great, but I just felt like they needed to have more basics, more things that would be a little bit more fashionable for women, that it didn't, say, whoa, I'm a huge fan. And you can't really wear it anywhere else except for if you're sitting in the stands. And I just felt like the white space was there. And I actually was doing a Super Bowl. I was working some media for a Super Bowl in San Francisco, probably 10 years ago. And the NFL actually asked me to host a Chalk Talk with female fans and wear some of their gear. And I put it on and I sat there, and there was actually a Vogue writer, and she was there to talk about fashion in the NFL. And I just looked at her and I said, I want to change this. I want to start making more options available for women. And she said, when you do, let me know. And that night I went to dinner with my management team. Like every good business dinner, we started drinking and writing ideas on the tablecloth. And that's where Wear was born.
Wow.
The name of it, the idea, trying to figure out, how to make it work. And so that's how it came about. And then it took, 5, 6 years, 7 years for someone to listen to us and understand that this could be a good idea.
No, absolutely, for sure. And, and recently in recent years, you've also partnered with Fnatic. How much is a game changer from a licensing standpoint? Seems like a good one to join forces with, if you want to scale in, variety of different leagues and teams.
Yeah, they've been helpful in terms of us getting the license and in terms of us distributing this, getting it out there. Fanatics is kind of the end all be all in terms of getting your team apparel. So if you want to be carried by anyone, it's definitely them. So that has definitely helped the process.
Yeah, and you've also recently launched your own NFL-themed jewelry collection, working in tandem with Bobble Bar. Erin, you've covered the NFL for more than a decade now. Like, how has your relationship with the league been helpful, just in securing, these deals and licensing rights and just navigating that whole that ecosystem, if you will?
Listen, it's been huge. I mean, first of all, my management team is owned and run by Michael Strahan, who's, a pretty big name in the NFL. And then my manager, Constance Schwartz-Marini, who's kind of been in the news lately. She also manages Deion, Snoop, I'm not as big as those guys, and Michael as well. And she worked with the league forever, and Roger Goodell is, very close with her. And so whenever we were getting a lot of doors slammed in our face, and we needed the NFL's permission, and they were always backing us and trying to get us in front of people that, would be able to help us actually see this come to fruition. So the league support has been amazing. When we launched, we had a great week last week. We, we're in New York doing some press. Obviously, Taylor Swift wore our jacket. Those are big pats on your back and big thank yous to the league for helping us. And, I emailed the commissioner the other day congratulating him on his new extension and also thanking him for allowing me to have Wear and be a part of the league. So it's been big, when you have head coaches even that stop you on the sidelines and say, my wife loves your stuff. When you have players that DM you you and say, hey, my wife's looking for a small in this. Can you help a guy out? It's really, really cool. So yeah, the league, the support, and the players have been awesome in this too.
Now, Erin, you kind of beat me to it there, mentioning Taylor. You beat me before I could even bring it up, but I have to ask. Taylor Swift obviously was spotted wearing, your product. Most notably the Chiefs jacket, right? That's gone viral now. And is there a better way to, come to market with your new product and have one of the most famous people in the world wearing it for?
No, I mean, that was just, it's like Elvis Presley wearing your stuff. It's massive, and it was major. And if anything, it was really cool for, I don't know. We did in fact send her group, some stuff and everything. And I appreciate them even opening it, but you never think in a million years when you send somebody something, they're actually going to put it on. And for me, it just meant so much more than just, oh my gosh, Taylor Swift is wearing our stuff. I just thought it was really cool, women supporting women, because this whole thing has been, it's been hard, this, launching this line and trying to convince people that it's needed, that it's actually liked, that people, will enjoy wearing it and look cute doing it. And she looked incredible. So that was really special. And look, there's a lot of people that have worked hard with me on this, and it was a credit to them. And there's a lot of people that have doubted us. So that felt good too.
Yeah.
So it was a big moment, and I am so grateful to her and grateful to whoever put it in her hands. And again, it felt good. We are for women by women, and then to have one of the biggest women out there wearing it was just a really, really special moment.
So in these kind of moments, Erin, do you go back to Taylor's camp and, hey, can you do that again? Or do you kind of fade back and you just kind of let it go? Or how do you navigate that sort of?
No, listen, we're so grateful that it happened. And we also feel really confident that we have a lot of amazing styles. This is one of my favorite sweaters that we offer in Chiefs colors, and we may or may not have sent it her way. And I think it would look so great with red lipstick and, her adorable skirts and boots that she puts on, that there's a lot of Chiefs games left, and maybe down the road she'll wear it. But no, we're not begging for anything. We're just so grateful for the moment and trying to ride it out. And it's been really cool. I've gotten DMs all throughout, ever since she wore it, from people wearing or sporting their Ohio State gear to their World Series gear that's coming out. Obviously, the Rangers, and we'll see what happens with the Diamondbacks and the Phillies and Miami Dolphins. And people have just said, if Taylor Swift's wearing it, I'm going to wear it. So it's been really cool to see.
I know. And, Erin, I feel like you have your hands in both areas, right? Like journalistically, like how do you balance that, right? Like covering the NFL objectively while doing business with the league, essentially.
Oh, well, that's why I wear NFL gear. I don't wear a certain team. I can't show favoritism, even though I have favorite, guys in the league that I love to work with and so forth. And some teams are easier than others, but no. That's so easy to separate. That's not even an issue. I get where my bread is buttered, and that's with Fox Sports, and I would never do anything to jeopardize that. But listen, I had my boss tell me, last year, listen, all the things that I do outside of Fox in terms of like working with the league, working with trying to get women to be big fans of the league, that helps us. That helps us get viewers. So, I would never jeopardize, I'm working with the Cowboys to get them a windbreaker, so I like that. No. I stay neutral.
And it goes both ways, right? I think that's a really good point. And you mentioned Coach Prime and, we
just launched a new deal with him as well. We just launched a new collab this past weekend. We have different styles for the ladies available at Dick's Sporting Goods. I was wearing my Coach Prime, I believe, lace up top on my way to Baltimore this weekend. I had my Coach Prime zip up yesterday when I was walking the dog and pushing the baby around the neighborhood. So that's been an exciting one as well. Listen, two of the biggest people, we were so lucky that Taylor put on our jacket, and to be able to do this collab with Coach Prime and everything that he stands for and what he's doing out there is really awesome.
Right. And you and Coach Prime, like you mentioned, work with Constance under Smack Entertainment. Like, what's it like to see that synergy within the company where it could be beneficial for clients like yourself, right, in their own personal business endeavors?
It's amazing. And I'm so grateful for Smack and Constance to even think about doing this, and Coach Prime to even, be behind it and allow us to use his name and to be a part of this. It was a no-brainer. I've obviously known Dion for a while, being a player, but also a family member, because that's what we are at Smack. And I've been around him a ton. And I got to sit down with him this year before the college football season for Fox Big Noon Saturday, and that was really special. And things just started to kind of spin out of control in a great way at Colorado, and that's when Constance and our group with Wear were like, wait a second, we need Prime gear for the women out there. And it's just such a cool full circle moment.
Yeah, striking while the iron's hot, right?
Yeah.
Between Coach Prime and Taylor and everything else.
Baby gear. We have baby gear now because,
wow.
obviously my son's 4 months old. So we announced this past week that we have a baby line for the NFL and Major League Baseball this year. I'm sure it'll be growing. And NHL as well for my son's dad. We are very excited about that. And we're sure it's going to be growing and getting better, just like the female line is. And our collab with Bobble Bar that we're super excited about.
Right. And is the men's collection coming down the pipe? When is that? Never? No?
Listen, I want the I want a unisex collection. I mean, my husband is very involved.
Right.
He looks at the styles. He loves it. He feels the fabrics and everything. We just need the thumbs up to do it. We are knocking down the doors and all that. So maybe it'll take, I don't know, Justin Timberlake to wear a shirt or something like that, or a sweatshirt. And then somebody will say yes. But we're just waiting for approval on that one.
I love that. JT, if you're listening out there, that's your cue.
Oh, I'll get word to him.
As we wind down here, Erin, obviously you've had a long career in sports broadcasting, and, obviously, I'm just curious your thoughts on, when you look over the totality of your career, what would you say is just the best business lesson that you've learned, from in broadcasting or within fashion?
I actually just interviewed Dan Patrick yesterday for the Calm Down podcast that I have with Carissa Thompson and myself. And Dan is a good friend. I obviously worked at ESPN for 8 years, and to be able to call him a friend was always a dream. I think growing up when I was watching Sportscenter when he was doing it with Keith Olbermann and so forth. And it was such an emotional podcast. I did not expect for it to be as emotional as it was. And I think because, Dan's in a different age bracket than I am, but I definitely still look at him I look at him like a mentor and just his lessons. He was just talking about how competitive our industry is and that you really don't have time to enjoy it, because once one thing, happens, that's a good thing. You just want to build off of it. You almost drive yourself crazy to do it. And he talked about sometimes in our industry, it's good to pull off to the side of the road and take a minute and just think about what just happened and sit in it for a second and be excited and enjoy it before you get back in the HOV lane. And I started crying because he's just so right. I mean, there's so many times, even it's just like, one of the coolest things happened to us. I'm a Swiftie and Taylor Swift wears our stuff, and we announce a baby line, and we have a collab with Bobble Bar, and we're on Today's Show, and we're, sitting here with you today. And it's just like, okay, what can we do next? What can we do next? And like, can we just take a second? Can we take a second to appreciate where we are? So I think that's the biggest thing I've learned, and I'm trying to do as I get older. Anyone that's a sports fan, anyone that is a dad and has daughters, anyone that wants to be a sports broadcaster, I highly recommend listening to this podcast that we just did with Dan Patrick. It was so cool on so many levels. The stories he told, the lessons it was just, I was so emotional when I got home. I told my husband, he goes, "What?" And I said, I cried. He cried. It was awesome.
You weren't expecting to be balling at the end of that episode, right?
I didn't. No.
No, I love that though. Celebrating your wins, right? Like you said,
exactly.
Love that. Well, there you have it, folks, from the woman herself, entrepreneur, podcast co-host, TV personality, Erin Andrews. Thank you, Erin, for coming on the show.
Yep, appreciate it.